Seriously, I'm like,
oh, I know, I just put it here.
It's like my boys at church.
Yeah.
Where they're like,
Right.
how dare you?
Check this on. Hi, ladies. Welcome. I'm excited that you guys are here. Do we even need this? Maybe?
Yeah.
How does this sound?
We do.
I think
we can come up with
Okay. We are, well, first of all, I want to welcome you guys. We're excited that you guys are here at our new time for Business in Bubbly. We have had our evening session, which has been really fun to create and cultivate that community. And as we set them off towards the downtown land, we had an ask and a really need for women that wanted kind of this mid-morning time. And so here we are. So I'm actually really excited to create and cultivate new women that are coming in. We see obviously a lot of new faces, which is really fun. Like, who's our biz besties? Our business besties in the membership. Yes, and our new girls. I love it. Welcome. I'm really excited that you guys are here. So my name is Charity Majors. I'm the founder of Business in Bubbly. And I actually want to invite Viorica up here. Her and I are officially now co-directing this chapter. So we are going to be really pouring into and serving you ladies and just facilitating spaces of connection. Do you want to share anything before we do our fun little connection, please? And before you speak, she's actually going to speak with us today as well. So do you want to share anything before we dive in?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, it's so exciting to be here and to be part of what Charity is doing and to be invited into the space of being a chapter director. When I first started joining, I was just like you guys, right? I would come and kind of, just put my foot in the water and was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I love it. And then started to realize, hey, I like this a lot, actually. And never saw myself in a space of actually being, on the front of the room or anything like that. But I will say, when Charity, little by little, because she's as good as she is, and she, would just invite me little by little to speak or step up or whatnot, I started to realize the things that are actually brewing in my heart, that I do have a love for it, and I do have potential for it, and I do have all the things. So as you guys are coming and joining and being part of this, recognize that you too, may be in that space, and maybe you've never considered it, or maybe it's never been, spoken over you, or somebody's never invited you into that space. But if they haven't, I would just like to plant a little seed to kind of let it germinate, that you too might have that call on your life, and might have the, everybody has a voice, but not everybody wants their voice to be heard. But some people really want their voice to be heard, right? Whatever spectrum you're on, whether you're oh no, I don't want it to be heard, you probably have something very important to say, and maybe you just need to be invited into that space. And if so, kind of put yourself in that environment, right? Put yourself in that space where maybe you could say something and, volunteer. You just never know what might come up. Or if you feel oh no, I totally have things to say, right? Make yourself known, right? Or kind of just about people, because guaranteed, the world needs to hear what you have to say. So, anyway.
So good. You see why she's, so good. I just love her. She's a powerhouse. She has so much wisdom to share. Her voice, she already has a voice. She didn't need to find her voice. She just needs to be empowered to use it. And spaces like this is what it's about, and it's about that for you as well. Every single moment, one of our core missions is that we all get to be seen and heard and known, and to really have a space where we belong. And that's what we're really creating and cultivating within our local chapters with Business in Bubbly. We officially now have 8. We just launched Sarasota. So we have 8 nationwide chapters, and our goal this year is 20. So it's going to be really fun growth to not only have local connection, but also nationwide connection. I'm working on a couple girls in Canada, so maybe international one day. So it's going to be fun. And one of our things within our culture is that we actually want to create and allow a space for big people. And what that means is that your insecurity gets to be left at the door, What it means is that you get to step into the next version of yourself with where you're being called to go. That means that if you want to raise your hand and help or volunteer or learn what it looks like to speak and to lead, this is a place for it. And we're also really creating and cultivating community, because there's nothing that replaces not only the magic of what happens in the room, but the connections that we make. And no matter what happens in life, whether we pivot in our business, how many of you have like done the pivot thing and the change thing and the started all the way from scratch thing? No matter what happens in business or in life, community is one of the most valuable assets that we can cultivate. And no matter what happens in the pivots in business or the curveballs in life, when we know that we have each other's backs, when we know that we can call each other, when we know that, hey, I'm doing this fun special promo, will you share it out for me? Hey, let's collaborate on a workshop type of a thing. Hey, my family is struggling. How can we help surround and support you type of a thing? That's the culture that we're really creating here. And to create better connections and to create deeper connections, we have to learn what it looks like to ask better questions. Right. I would say usually what happens when we come into a networking space is it's, oh, who are you? What do you do? Tell me about your family. You know the questions that you answered a bazillion times. Well, in order to create better connection, we have to ask better questions. And so every time we are going to be inviting you into asking better questions. One of our key staples is that we actually do an intentional connection piece that invites you into deeper than just the surface. And don't get me wrong, I love good lipstick and cute earrings and good heels, but I don't want to talk about the weather. Like, I want to hear about your hopes and your dreams, and we're gonna like deep dive into the pool of like connection and even vulnerability, which can be really scary sometimes. But part of my mission, and there's this quote that it says, if ever there's a time when the women of the world come together, it will be a force that the world has never known. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of that concept being, well, if one day, like I actually say that day is today, that time is now, and we get to show the world what it looks like, how powerful it can be when women come together, when women support each other. Even, and I'll say this too, the whole women supporting women, yes, it's good, and when we can also do conflict well. When we can have differences of opinions and different beliefs, and that means that we're building big people, that we allow big people. I'm not looking for uniformity, I'm not looking for you to have the same exact beliefs and the same exact think the same way I do and dress the same way I do and do everything the same way I do, but we can come together around women and seeing each other rise and coming together despite our differences, despite if we disagree, despite. So we actually want to learn how to even do conflict well. When you do conflict well, it leads to more trust. When you don't do conflict well, it leads to distrust. And so even equipping you ladies and creating cultures where it's okay to disagree, it's okay to have difference of opinion, there's still going to be a culture of honor and respect, and hey, I'm still going to support you even if we're in the same industry, because even healthy competition is a good thing. Yes, collaboration over competition is a good concept. And if we're in the context of the culture of community and the culture of a team, I used to actually play volleyball, and we had multiple outside hitters. We had 2 outside hitters that were competing in the context of team for that starting spot. And that healthy competition, she was one of my best friends. We studied together, we hung out on the weekends together. I didn't hate her, she didn't hate me. But this healthy competition in the culture of community, competition actually made us better. And so, yes, to collaboration over competition, but actually in here, I want to kind of X-nay the and put, or X-nay the over and put the and. Collaboration and competition, because it's going to make us better. And when you collaborate in a healthy environment, in a healthy culture, there's magic that happens. Imagine if you guys were able to collaborate on some different fun social media stuff, and you guys were able to collaborate on some life coaching, life coaching stuff, and there's magic that happens when, no, I don't see the woman next to me as the competition. I'm the competition for that starting spot, and now I'm going after the other team, right? So that healthy competition is a great thing. Building big people, so you get to leave your insecurities at the door. You actually get to show up as your favorite self in this room. We don't show up as our best self, because for me, as a person that has recovering perfectionist tendencies and recovering people-pleasing tendencies, showing up as my best self always seemed really unattainable, and it always seemed really out of reach. Because sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I don't shower. Sometimes I have a 4, she's 4 months old today. Tomorrow, I'm up in the middle of the night, and I'm not part of the 5 a.m. club. I'm part of the 3 a.m. breastfeeding club. And so showing up as my favorite self means that in this room I get to show up with my fun heels, my cute earrings, and I get to show up as my favorite self as a woman in business. And when I go home to be a mom, I get to kick these off, and I get to show up as my favorite self as the mom that loves my kids and loves my family more than anything in the world. And so in this room, we get to show up as our favorite self. Sound good? Okay, so we're going to do a really fun connection piece before we hear from Viorica. And these are some fun cards that we are going to use. So on these cards, there are pictures. Lots of different pictures, lots of different cards. Maybe I'll just cut the deck in half so it's not so. I'm going to lay these on the table. And I actually want you to choose a card that represents a future that you would like to create. So you kind of spread them out. You're going to choose a card that represents a future that you would like to create. And on the back, there is also a quote.
Complicated. That's like super deep. I'm trying to
Like there's more. Yeah, I know.
Don't think too hard. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition. Choose one that speaks to you right away. Look at the quote on the back. If it resonates, amazing. And what we're actually going to do is you're going to start with your name and then share how the quote connects to your intended future. If you want to share the quote and then also maybe explain the picture, what resonated with you about it. So for example, I would say, my name's Charity. Done is better than perfect because I like to see more action and less fear around whatever it is I'm doing. And so you're actually going to come up here and share. All right, so you guys can go ahead and grab a seat, and then we'll just kind of cycle up. Everyone will get a turn. I will preface this with saying, make it short and awesome. It doesn't have to be like a 10-minute thing. And if you do want it to be a 10-minute thing, there are options to speak at different things for sure. But so short and awesome, a few minutes of just kind of sharing who you are and what resonates with you about the card. And we are going to dive on in. So who wants to go first? I love it. Yes, Peters go first. Let's go, Molly. What are new girls? Oh, and I'm going to preface this as well. So in this room, we are each other's biggest fans. And what this looks like is, if you can imagine the Rome Coliseum, it seats about 10,000 people, which is, on average, that's about how many people that we meet in our lifetime. And how many of you, I don't know about you, but I have enough people in the cheap seats. Yeah. So in this room, because we are in the arena together, we are each other's biggest fans, we're in the front row, we cheer each other on. So every woman that comes up here, we are now your biggest fan. We are your biggest fan when you come up. We are your biggest fan when you come up. And so what that looks like is you're gonna like cheer like it. Like you're like the winning girl from your best team is just coming up here and you're gonna cheer her on and be her biggest fan when she shares. So Molly, welcome. We're excited to have you here and I'm looking forward to learning more about you with your card.
Okay, great. Hello, ladies. So I'm Molly, and my card says, everyone and everything around you is your teacher. And I don't know, I saw this and just thought adventure, stepping out of your comfort zone, and that is something that I've been doing for the last almost 3 years. Just really kind of weeding out the people that don't have a good impact in my life, and just really using and utilizing the people around me to teach me to be better, to grow, to just be a better woman, wife, friend, mother, all the things. So that's why I chose this. Thank you so much.
All right.
You go, girl.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki, and I chose my card with money on it because we're all trying to build a better future and financially, creatively, everything. So that's why I chose this card. The quote on the back says, "Values are like fingerprints. Nobody's are the same, but you leave them all over everything you do." That's from Elvis Presley, which is like super cool. But I think reading this quote, you know, we do so much in our lives, and sometimes you wonder what other people think or what kind of value you're bringing. And this kind of just shows that everything that everybody does, we all have value in everything that we do and everything that we speak. And I think it just kind of brings a little bit of light to that. So.
Since you had the money card, which I love this one. So what's really fun about one of our core values is that we also believe that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. And we're here to not only elevate the conversation around women earning money, but also really creating a micro economy among each of us. And so that looks like doing business together, and that looks like doing life together, and that looks like being really, really excited about what it is that you do in your business, in your passion project, in your side hustle, so that that passion comes through. There are other really great networking groups that are out there, but a lot of times it's like, oh, like you can't talk about your business. It's like, I don't know, I love talking about my business. I'm an author, I love to connect women, I love to talk about that stuff. And other groups, which are great, like be a part of them. I'm a part of some of them too. And it still is like, oh, let's not talk about your business. I don't know. Women control over 80% of the money that gets transferred in this country. And so we're here to say, yes, talk about your business and make business connections and do business together. We're also being equipped in financial literacy. We've done that on all of our summits. Eureka is a financial literacy expert. She's going to share with us today. And so we're here to also equip you in financial literacy so that, again, when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. All right, who's next? All right, woo! And Natalie. Awesome.
I'm Natalie Hart. I chose this door because I find that as I help other people open doors, that it helps open doors and new ideas and adventures for myself as well. And the quote on the back is from Bill Nye, the science guy, which is kind of cool because I love science. But he says, everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't. And I love that because I work in kind of an integrative health and wellness facility, and I think, when you study health and nutrition and fitness for so many years, you start to feel like, yeah, I know this, I got this, and until you meet someone else who specializes in the same field but has a completely different experience with it, or personal, experience. And so I think that really helps, me and others just to kind of keep you humble and keep you learning, keep you, growing when you realize that so many other people have knowledge that you don't have.
Yes, I'm Molly number 2.
Same way.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm Molly. My card, the quote is, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel, by Maya Angelou, which is so true, right? Really, the connections that you make with people in business and relationships, all of that, like the impactful things are how we feel. Those are the things that kind of imprint on us, so I love that. And then I just picked this because it's vibrant, and it's an orange, and it is my mission to empower people to use nutrition and lifestyle and exercise and all those things too as medicine, right? And for vibrant health. And so that just made me think about it. I love the color, I love the vibrancy of it, and just vitality.
Awesome.
Queen Leah.
All right, so my name's Leah, and I picked this because it's like a from stage looking out into the audience, and it has like music. And I love leading worship, and I feel like God has really put that more in my mind, like you need to do this more. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I picked that for this. And the quote on the back was really actually awesome. It says, "I believe that telling our stories first to ourselves and then to one another and the world is a revolutionary act," by Janet Mock. And I thought that's so great because we literally had a biz thing that we did, and it was about telling your story. And we just had Meant for More last weekend, and I talked about how I feel like God's just like, now go, like tell your story. And I think I was talking to the Lord about it, like I feel like I'm just supposed to tell my story about like what I've been through and like all of these things. And so yeah, more confirmation.
Awesome.
Love it.
Hi, alright, so I'm Kirsty, and I picked the open lock. And I saw the open lock and I thought about unlocking the possibilities within your life, within yourself, unlocking doors, maybe God is trying to open your purpose, identity. It just, a lot of things popped in my mind when I saw the lock. And then it says, mistakes are the portals of discovery by James Joyce. And at first I was kind of like, what the heck, what does that even mean for me? And I started thinking about, we make mistakes, and that's how we learn, and that's how we grow. And it's really how we learn to grow within ourselves, within our faith, and within people. And we want perfection, and we always think that we need to be perfect. And really, God says we are imperfect people, and there's a reason for that. And that's how you grow your faith and just grow as a woman. And yeah, I just believe that for a while. So. Who's next? All right.
Hi, my name's Megan, and I picked this one because I thought about traveling. That's my goal, is to travel outside the country one day. And my quote is, "Every problem has a gift for you in its hands," by Richard Bach. And I was thinking about that because I actually had a situation come up last week that was really challenging, and I had to figure out how to handle the problem. And my old self would have fought back, would have screamed, stopped, all that kind of stuff. But I have grown a lot in my business and my faith and everything. And I rose above the situation. I addressed it with the person. I addressed it on my social media. And it made me feel so much stronger. Being able to, instead of kicking and screaming, being mad, really taking it and saying, you know what? This is going to happen. And I'm going to face it. And I'm going to, make sure that it's a problem that won't, hinder me in the future. So,
Really great.
My name is Krista. I used to be a business director, and this one it's right there. The reason why I picked this is because I thought it was just eye-opening, especially for us females. I'm only 34. I was just talking to everybody that I don't know from my ADHD disease. But the quote in the back that says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And I was like, wait, what? I was like, how does that play in? But I thought maybe it's just the way that I feel, especially being a female in her 30s that worked 9 to 5 and had to drive 2 hours to work, 2 hours back previously, and just looking at it, I was like, with my business, I felt like I was in that position of giving that time back, especially for businesses, being able to get that in control and making sure that people are spending their time wisely and getting their time back with their families. So I thought this one was best fit for me. Originally I picked the dog because I like dogs. But other than that, yeah.
Awesome. So good, Chris. I actually believe that you chose that eye for a reason, and yes, for what it was with what you said, but also with the rainbow that's on it. Rainbow signifies promise, and I believe that you are going to have promises that you've been holding on to, that they are going to come true in maybe in this next season. And even the reason that you picked a dog is that because you're a really good friend.
Aww.
All right, who's next? All right, Laura.
Thanks. Okay, so I was drawn to this, no pun intended, because of the colors. I really love bright, bold, and then I noticed that with these that we can create and we can draw things, and feel like I'm kind of in that area of my life where I'm doing a lot of creating and drawing, and that we can create our life to be whatever we want it to be. And with the colors, that it will always come out bright and beautiful no matter what it is. And I love the quote because it says, "Surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher." This is something that I've been working on lately, really making sure that there's people around me that are lifting me up and speaking life over me and helping me be a better person in all areas of my life. And so, yes, I enjoyed that.
I think you're the lesson.
Awesome.
These are so fun, right? If you guys don't do these kind of cards with your spouse, do them. They're so fun, yeah. So I chose the lion, just because it's awesome. I mean, the quote's kind of weird. So it says, "I do want to create art beyond rage. Rage is a place to begin, not a place to end." Interesting. I guess I'm a rageful person, maybe inside. But what I really loved about it, I think the quote is fitting in the context of, rage sometimes isn't necessarily like somebody who's crazy, but it's just a high level of energy, right? And I think with the lion, what's really, for me, was really attractive is that lions are very, very graceful until they are like, they need to perform, until they need to protect, until their demand is needed, right? But outside of that, they're just very like, beautiful, I've got good hair, you know what I mean? Like, they're awesome. And so I just love that because I felt like, you know what, I want to be that. I want to be that. And I love what you ladies were saying, like, I'm stepping into what I want, and that's what I want. I want to be this lioness, right? It's like graceful but powerful.
I love that.
It never works. Never works. Okay. Well, I stopped the car really. I'm just being fortunate because I don't even know why. Well, I had to laugh because I didn't even see what it said. It said your patience with others is good. And to laugh because if that's the one thing I would say I learned from my divorce is that. Then I turn the card over and read this. "The moments that make life worth living are when things are at their worst and you find a way to laugh." And I literally just had to laugh because that's literally like how my family would explain me going through my divorce. Just laughing my way through it. Honestly, I feel like I'm kind of at a place where everything's starting to get better, but I'm really happy with the way I went through the hard things. Like, I feel like so many people go through hard things and just really let me get them down. And for me, it's just kind of, I'm a very like, oh, what do you do? Like, move on, like, let's just keep going. But, so,
good. I love it. How many of you guys learned something new about each woman here? You can see a little bit more into her heart and into her future and into things that really light her up. Isn't that fun? Thank you guys for participating in doing that. It doesn't happen without your participation and without you being willing to say yes, and that can sometimes be vulnerable and sometimes be a little scary. So congratulations, you put your big girl panties on and you did it! So next we are going to hear from Viorica. She is not only a powerhouse, she is one of the most kind and genuine and generous women that I have ever met. She is an amazing friend. She is a leader, and she is meant to be a voice. And one of her passions is equipping, especially us as women, in financial literacy. And so she's going to share with us, and then we're going to dive into our businesses after this as well. So let's give it up for Viorica!
Don't mind me being awkward, okay? I'm going to put my timer on to respect, everything. Because I can go on a tangent in this area because it is my love language. Just to give you some background, so you guys have some context. For those who know me, then this is old news, right? Broken record. But for those who don't, I came into the world of finance by accident, right? I was a nurse working as a home health nurse and enjoying it, right? I loved doing that, but it wasn't until I had somebody show up at my house and talk to me about some things that were like pretty vulnerable. In fact, prior to them coming, we, as far as financial stuff goes, we thought we were pretty good, right? We were doing the whole 9 to 5. My husband was working at St. Al's on becoming an anesthetist. I was working in home health, like we were trading off, never seeing each other, but we were paying off our student loans. We had, got a house, and we were like, hey, we're so cool, like we paid off our cars. We thought we're good, right? We had life insurance in place. We didn't have any retirement, but we were paying down our debt, so we were good. So we thought initially we were good. We were just like, sure, whatever. So we had somebody come over, and they were like, by the way, are you aware? ... And when she started to talk about different concepts, I thought, oh, we know that. Girl, we're good. But look, if you need to dive in and if you need to get it off of your mind to make sure we're okay, sure, let's pull out all our stuff, okay? And so she started to dive into our life insurance policies. And it wasn't until she started diving in that I started to be like, wait a minute, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean I have the wrong kind? What do you mean it's not going to pay? What do you mean X, Y, and Z, okay? So I'm going to go backwards a little bit, okay? Because we are going to talk about life insurance. I know, super fun. My job, everybody's favorite subject. But the reason we're going to talk about it, you'll see in a minute, the importance, why it's so important. When we're talking about finances, okay, the financial house, all of that, everybody loves talking about investing, mutual funds, the money, right? Letting your money make money. That's the sexy part. But unfortunately, to talk about mutual funds, to talk about making your money grow without talking about the foundation of protection is neglectful. It's irresponsible. And let me help you understand why. When we talk about our financial house, this is us, right? So this is us. This is our household. You have your spouse, you have you, okay? Do not mind my drawing, okay? And you will not see words on here because I am very dyslexic, so we are only going to see, one-word things. Okay, or one-letter things. So this is our financial house. This is your spouse, this is you, or maybe it's just you. In our financial house, you bring in money, right? Everybody brings in $1. In that, you have money that goes out, okay? Whether it's your bills, most bills, right? Whether it's your spending, your fun, whatever it is. And then most of us hopefully save, okay? So this is spending, that's saving. Okay? That's our financial house, right? Now what happens is everybody loves to do these two things. to spend and to save. Paying bills, nobody likes it, but it's necessary, right? Unfortunately, what happens is most people don't realize that this, right here, your foundation of your home, is literally what keeps everything afloat. So the reason why we're going to talk about life insurance, and this is life insurance. And why? Let me help you understand the concept of life insurance. Most people, when they think of life insurance, they think of if somebody passes, it ends up paying for their death, right? It's a burial cost. It's something that funds all the things. And some people often say, oh, that's not a big deal. I don't really need that because when I pass, I just want them to burn me and scatter my ashes in the ocean across the mountain ridge, which sounds great, right? Who doesn't want that? Everybody wants that. That whole idea of like bliss, when it's over, it's over. However, that is a false concept, that life insurance is just for burial costs. In fact, the reason why we're talking about this today is because on our mastermind, when we were talking with chapter directors, another chapter director had mentioned how they're going to be talking about it because recently in the Valley, an influencer had passed away, and everybody knew this influencer, which I am speaking from not knowing this influencer, but the story was relevant, that there was an influencer in town who passed away, and they were all shocked because obviously it was a tragic passing, wasn't expected, and they had no life insurance. And so what happens is when somebody passes, influencer or not, and you have no life insurance, all of a sudden the income that that person brought in, gone. Gone. What happens if this person was the main income earner? Gone. Who brings in that income then? Who pays for all of these bills? Do you save anymore if that income isn't there? No. Do you have much to spend to go shopping? No. But do your bills stop? No. Unfortunately, what happens here, in the bills section, your bills, your bank, your mortgage company doesn't talk to your phone insurance or your phone company. And your phone company doesn't talk to your utilities company, right? They don't talk to each other and say, oh, hey guys, let's give them a break because they just had a tragic happening in their life. Let's give them a break because this and this happened. They don't. Unfortunately, the bills come due with whether or not you're there. And so what happens with your foundation when it comes to life insurance, it's quite literally the base at which pays for your entire existence, right? If you're no longer there, we ask this when we're doing, evaluations for clients or whatnot, and we ask them, what is your greatest asset? Well, what do you think most people say? A house, a car, their ring, right? Is their greatest asset. But unfortunately, while those are all great assets, your greatest asset is you, is your ability to produce an income, is your ability to protect your family. And so it's not something that's like a kind of a thing to talk about, right? It's not sexy, absolutely not, right? It's definitely not something that we're like, yes, we can't wait to learn about life insurance, right? Nobody wants to. But if we're going to put on our big girl pants, like Charity says, if we're going to talk about the real things, especially as business owners, there are things that are tied to our existence that are absolutely necessary, right? Because if we're not showing up, who does? And in this context, life insurance for your life, for your actual personal life, business insurance is equally as important. Because if you're a key person in your business, if you no longer show up and you took out some capital to, start your business or whatever, if you no longer show up and you're that key person, what happens then? Who funds that? Who takes on that debt? Maybe it's not debt, but maybe you'd like your business to continue to move forward. But without some funds to provide it, to keep it going, whether it's inventory or whatever, well, you need some type of coverage in that regard in order to make sure that your spouse doesn't have to just sell the business, or that your partners end up taking the business, or whatever it is, right, from a business aspect of it. So it's dramatically important. Now, what I want you to understand, 6 minutes, okay. So, there's 2 different types of life insurance policies. This goes for business insurance as well as personal life insurance, okay? Now, I want you guys to understand the 2 differences because this is something that I'm just extremely passionate about. And this is kind of what got me going too, as far as like what really made me want to jump ship and say, forget nursing, man. I need to learn this like right now, because the fact that most people like me didn't know this, how many more don't have a clue, right? And so it just really set a fire in my soul, and that's why we jump ship. But okay, there's 2 different types. Okay, there's term, and then there's whole life. Now, whole life goes into many different types. There's whole life, there's universal life, there's variable life, there's flexible, adjustable, index life, there's whatever. Here's how you know the difference, okay? Now, if some of you have this, awesome. It's fantastic that you have life insurance. Make sure you have the right kind. I am not just very biased when it comes to this. I have figured out the numbers, and the numbers never lie. I've never once seen anything in this category actually pay out, actually work out in your best interest. Never, okay? So, there's term, okay? Term, it's for a length of time, right? If you're 30, say you're 30 to 60 years of age, okay? Let's just say whatever, whether it's a 20-year, 30-year, 15-year, 10-year, whatever, it's a term. It's for a specific amount of time. Whole life is for your whole life, That's what they say. For your whole life until you expire. Here's the major difference between the 2 and why it's so dramatically important to understand. These cost double the amount that a term does. Now, the purpose of a term life insurance, the purpose of life insurance in general, is to protect your income during vulnerable years, while you have children at home, while you have a little bit of debt, and while you have a mortgage. Outside of those things, when your children are grown, your house is paid, and you have no mortgage or anything like that, you should not be paying additional insurances. You need to be saving money. And we use this concept called the theory of decreasing responsibility. Basically what it means is today, when you have a lot of overhead, whether it's kids or business or whatever, you need a lot of protection. And you need that to get you through the vulnerable years where you have accumulated money over the course of that time, to where your kids are grown, your house is paid, and you're ready to retire. At that season of your life, when you're at the, that like free zone, you shouldn't have all these extra payments and bills that you're paying, right? And so your need goes down. And as your need goes down, your coverage should too. That's like saying I'm paying insurance for things, my phone insurance, and I don't own a phone. Why would you pay that? And when you're actually calculating it, we won't today, but at a different time, when you actually calculate it and look at the amount of time, and you were to put, let's say this cost you $100. Well, this will easily cost you $200. When you look at that extra $100 difference in a mutual fund between 9 to 12% invested, that ends up being like $1.2 million at retirement. Versus that cost difference. Versus you get a whole life policy, by the time you've matured, you get nothing. Or, if you want to cash it out, whatever's accumulated the cash value in there, you might get $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. So what does the company pocket? $1 million, right? Because that two, say 200,000 you got, but the company pocketed $1 million. Is that a win or is that a loss for you? A huge loss, right? Like millions of dollars of difference. So, 2 minutes, okay. Okay, so here's the big difference between the two, okay? Besides the fact that they're very costly. They're very costly. And here's why this one costs so much. Because not only are they saying they give you the term or whatever, the coverage, let's say it's $100,000 in coverage, okay? Which $100,000 in coverage, let's be honest. Does that even cover today's median house? No, right? It doesn't. But let's say they give you $100,000 in cost. Your cost, what you're paying, goes to fund 2 things. the cost of insurance, COI, and your cash value. Now, your cash value in the first 4 years, sometimes up to 6, is 0. If you were to go to a bank and put your money in the bank for 6 years, and then go like year 5 and say, I'd like to withdraw some money, and they say, I'm sorry, you have no money here. Would you bank with them? No, you wouldn't. You absolutely would not, right? Same thing here. But they say, no problem, and it's going to grow. After about 6 years, it'll start to grow. And then when you're 65, 70, you'll have 200,000 there that's grown in cash value. But what have you lost? Right? Big difference. Now, here's the big thing, because I have to wrap it up. Let's say you have one of these types of policies. Okay? Obviously, you want to make sure that you double check and see, because sometimes when it comes to coverage, there are things that come into play that you may not be able to control. Meaning, life insurance is not something you can just get if you want to. You have to qualify for it. You have to qualify. It is based, the cost is based off of your age and your health. So sometimes people can't get coverage because they don't qualify. Meaning, that they're maybe too old and then it's too expensive and they can't afford it, or they've developed some type of health condition, which means that, they're not insurable. And if that's the case, there are other options, which would be a mutual fund, right? Putting your money in the market and allowing it to grow, and considering it to be like your cash account. But if you do have a policy like this, and you're not aware of it because you think it's a term, because on the face of it, it might say convertible term, make sure you get it double checked. And I'm happy to do that for any of you. If you're not comfortable with me, I completely understand. Find somebody you are comfortable with, right? I'm very happy to look at your policy with you to help you understand, because they come associated with fees. They have all kinds of things in it. And to give you a story to kind of really solidify that, I sat down with a physician that runs, some of the hospitals in the valley. And he had a policy that he was like, oh yeah, it's great, I have a few million in coverage, blah, 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 blah. I said, great, no problem. Let's just take a look at it real quick. We look at it. He was no longer insurable because of his age. He certainly couldn't get the coverage he wanted because of X, Y, and Z, all the things. 3 million, coverage. Like, yeah, right, by now it would be so expensive for him because he got it years and years ago. He has assets and all the things, right? His wife doesn't work. Now, forget this. His policy had rules in it that said, if he passes, the company gets to keep his money, but they will divvy out within like a 20% to his wife over the course of 30 years. Now, if you were his wife, how would you feel learning that after he passed? Pissed. Devastated, right? So luckily there was a clause in there that said, unless he assigns it to a trust, and she is the grantor of that, then can she get it? So what do you think he did the very next day? Because he wasn't insurable at that point. I couldn't do anything for him. But what did he do? You better believe he assigned it to her and all the other things, right? We're talking a $3 million loss for lack of knowledge. So guys, it's important. It's very, very important. I know this is not a sexy topic, but I promise you it's so important, especially for those who are building their wealth, right? And building the things that they're wanting to, and you're working so hard for your money, so make sure your money is working hard for you. Thanks, guys.
I love it. Great job, Eureka. Thank you so much. How many of you guys learned something? What was maybe your favorite, something that you learned that you didn't know before? Yes.
Check your policy.
Check your policy. Anyone else? Good? Okay. We are going to jump into hearing about your guys' business, but first we're going to preface it with, I'll say this, how many of you have been to networking events where it's like salty salesmen and bad 30-second stories and here's my business card, and anybody? Me too. Part of the reason why I actually started Business in Bubbly, because the organizations are really great, be a part of them if we feel called, and I kind of wanted something to be more fun and more for us as women and not have to worry about being out on a coffee date to actually be asked out. No, not. And where things are actually brought up into modern day connection and marketing for us as women instead of kind of being stuck in the 1990s. And this concept, how many of you have ever heard of Simon Sinek and his book Start With Why? And his TED Talk, Start With Why. It's an amazing, amazing concept. And this is how we're going to structure what we like to call our signature statement. So think of it like a 30-second story, but way better. Okay, like your 30-second pitch, but way better. And so this concept of start with why, that comes from Simon Sinek, and again, if you haven't read the book, get it for sure, it's amazing, and his TED Talk. So if you can imagine, for us as women, Target, how many of you like to shop at Target? I do. So in the middle is why, this is how, and this is what. Now, most of the time, when we're talking about our business, we usually go, what do you do? And maybe we're talking about, oh yeah, I do this. What do I do? I have this networking group for women in business, and how do we do it? I connect women in business through like our little meetings that we have, and through our connections that we do outside of here, and now why? Now we might eventually get to why after like a couple minutes of fumbling through the what and the how. Anybody? Can you relate? And now all of a sudden we're like, because I'm really passionate about women connecting and community and women and creating economies between, like microeconomies between each other, and that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Does that stuff sound way better than the what? And this concept of start with why, what it actually gets into is a lot more brain psychology. I actually have a psychology degree, and so I geek out on all this stuff. But what's really interesting is when you start with the languaging of why we do what we do, why we're passionate about what it is that we're passionate about, it actually bypasses the part of our brain that analyzes language, and it gets to the part of our brain that taps into emotion. And even like one of the quotes that we heard today, people will never remember what you say, they will only remember the way that you make them feel. And if we start with the what, we maybe somehow get to the fumble to the why, or fumble to the how, and then eventually get to the what, we stay in kind of this logical, languagey brain without tapping into the deeper heart, passion, emotion, allowing someone to feel what it is that you feel about what you're doing and why you're doing it. So when we share our signature statement, what we're actually going to start with is why. So why you do what it is that you do. I believe that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. That we can create microeconomies between us as women where we're doing life and business together. I believe the community is one of the most valuable pieces that we can ever create in business or in life. How do we do that? Through our networking events where we connect women, where we invite them to ask deeper questions, where we allow them to show up as their favorite self. We get to show up as big people, as big leaders. We get to leave our insecurities at the door. We get to wear fun heels and cute earrings. What? It's a networking event. Does that sound way better to be a part of when you know the why? So it might take a little bit of practice. I'm actually going to have you find a partner. You're going to practice this first. And I want you to be with someone that you don't know. I see it. Oh yeah, you have to go. You have to go. It's true. Okay, do you want to come up and share really quick about your business and your why, and you want to just dive on in? I'll let you choose. You choose.
Yeah, sure. But I have to like literally go.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Why, how, what, Molly? We want to hear. We want to know you. Go, girl.
Okay, so what I do, okay, so
Why you do what you do.
Okay, so why I do what I do. I moved to Idaho 5 years ago.
That's the what. That's the what.
Sorry, why? To give back to the community. To reach kids that don't have healthy snacks available. To
What do you believe? I believe
that donating Go-Go Squeeze is what I do to communities and organizations just really brings joy, brings health, brings fun, and how do I do that? Well, currently I work with sponsorships. So right now I'm traveling with U.S. Soccer, men and women's, and we partner with Alex Morgan and different leaders in the soccer world and reach out their communities. And then I do marketing for Go-Go Squeeze. And I also help Bright Life, which is an amazing women's ministry, which we'll talk all about. So
good.
Yes. Sorry,
I
it's
love
kind of
it.
like really quick, but
You're good. I know.
thank you so much.
Way to go, Molly, new girl. She went first, and she wanted to share her why. She had to leave early, so she's just cannonballed in. Molly, thank you so much for coming.
I'll be back next time.
Love it.
I'll stay.
Love it. All right. So does this make sense with our why, how, and what for our signature statement? So you're going to find a partner and practice a little bit. Maybe it's someone that you don't know. And then we're each going to get to come up and share our 30-second, our signature statement, starting with why. A good way to start with this is I believe. I believe. Now all of a sudden you're sharing like your heart and your mission. Okay? So grab a partner, quickly give a little bit of feedback, share, start with the why, then the how, then the what. Practice a couple times if you need to, and then it's game time. We all get a mic and we all get to share up here. All right?
I do that through my business. Yeah, so like just being that role model and like showing that everything is possible and being able to be someone that others can look to professionally is really inspiring and all that. So then what I probably want to role model for our actual business is I actually found basically I think most of us organically or built in and you're like figure out my taxes, but we want to move numbers for the whole year. We teach you how to work on the business, for your business, key decisions, jargon, today is day one of the draft, so it's going to be real busy. I do marketing for our guys that are performing for that, and I help them with that. So I do like
Alright, switch partners if you haven't switched yet.
Honestly, like, because I taught when I was so long, I did like different conferences, to meet people and put together, and then flooded in, and that's like a deal like that. So, never. Yeah. It's fun. I actually have like a little. Yeah. So, enough about me. Your turn.
All right, start to wrap it up. About one more minute, and then we are going to hear from you ladies and your businesses. All right, 30 more seconds, finish it up. All right, time's up. You can go ahead and return to your seats, turn around, and now we are each going to hear your amazing signature statement. Starting with why, so you can learn about you, what you're passionate about, your heart and business, and why you do what you do, then how, then what. All right, let's start. We'll start over here with Kirsty. We'll just kind of go around the room. So girlfriend, you are up. Let's welcome Kirsty.
All right, so 30 seconds, here we go. So about 4 years ago, I started in affiliate marketing, which led me to where I am right now. The music is going down. I'll just keep talking. I love direct sales, totally didn't like it beforehand, but I've been doing it for 4 years anyway to this point. So God spoke to me, gosh, several years ago to do coaching and speaking, and I kind of pushed that aside. I was like, okay, great, I'll do that whenever. Yeah, I'll do that, you know. We'll do that later. And then fast forward to now. So I started a business called Awaken Consulting because God spoke to me. He's like, we need to awaken the soul of women to build their faith while building their business, because there are so many business opportunities, groups, podcasts that they don't develop the faith while you're doing your business. And I feel like that's a really important piece, especially if you're a woman of faith, to have the faith while doing business. And so I coach on how to encourage and strengthen women through their faith while they're building a business, so that they're also having that foundation, that faith foundation, that they continue to grow and flourish in their business as well. And that's what I do.
Start with why.
Okay, so I believe women are incredible, and I believe that we all have something to offer. And throughout our life, we get bombarded with lots of lies, and we make agreements about things that are not true. So I have a deep, deep passion of helping women see their inner light, help them shine bright, and to help them really live out their divine purpose with pure and total intention. I do this by running a women's wellness ministry, maybe once a month. I also do one-on-one coaching and group coaching as well. And I'm also a group fitness instructor and teach faith-based classes. And so I was doing that mostly part-time, and now I just do that through the ministry, through community outreach and outside hires. So I am a Christian life coach, group fitness instructor, and speaker, and run community. So, yeah.
I believe that women have a right to experience vibrant health as they age, and I've had my own personal experiences with being in a place of really poor health that, quite honestly, affected every aspect of my life. And then I found functional medicine and functional nutrition, and it changed me so fundamentally that I stopped my previous career, which was music therapy. I was a musician and I helped use music to help people reach non-musical goals. And I became a functional nutritionist so that I could empower women, especially. I have men clients too, but empower and educate, give them the tools, and then inspire them, like break through the roadblocks and the mindset stuff that keep us stuck to enjoy that long-term vibrant health, which is a right. We deserve it. And so many women get stuck in that trap of thinking, I'm just aging, or this is normal, it's just how it is, right? And I say no, like you deserve it. It is your right to experience that vibrant health. And I do that by running I have a practice called Fair Fitness and Nutrition, where I do one-on-one and group programs with my clients. And then I also own Rockbox Fitness, which has been open for about 6 weeks, right across the parking lot by Top Golf. My husband and I do that together. And so I bring my functional nutrition in to the health and exercise piece, and it just has all come together locally in that setting. And so that is who I am, and that's what I do.
So my name's Bubbly Hart, and I believe that we as women have special mission on this earth to accomplish, and God-given gifts that only we can share with others and touch the lives of others. But it's really hard to do when you have either chronic illness, or you're not feeling well, or you have those roadblocks when it comes to your health. I suffered for years with chronic fatigue, but hormone imbalance and a lot of things that really drug me down and really made it hard for me to really feel like I could live up to my potential. You know, then you add 3 kids and all that to the mess, and it starts to really get hard to balance life. And so how I do this, I worked with cardiologists for years in integrative wellness and fitness for years, but I found a device when I was having my own heart palpitations and issues that I can analyze your heart sounds and see what you're nutritionally lacking. Because the heart is the most important muscle of the body. If your heart muscle isn't strong, most likely the rest of your muscles are not functioning as well. And so I look at that. The heart takes on stress, it takes on emotional stress and all those things. So I became a holistic nutrition coach so that I can help women become who they want to be, to balance their mind, body, spirit, and do that through nutrition coaching.
My name is Megan, and I believe that everyone needs eyes. When they see something beautiful and elegant, but they just feel like, oh, I want that. And I have a passion for being creative. I've been creative my whole life. And so I have been able to bring that creativity through food. And I do events, workshops, both public and private workshops. I have worked with the community to do a range of things, open houses, parties, and my business is a Boys and Beauty Boards. It's a charcuterie business, and I just love what I do. I have fun with it. I am continually learning and improving my skill, and it's really interesting how many ways you can cut through.
But just honestly, I think knowledge needs to be shared. Just any knowledge, especially when it comes to business, is my why. And plus, I love to teach. It's just one of those things that I know in my heart is that if I have knowledge, I want to share it to everybody. Any setting, anywhere, anytime, any place. And through how I do it is through coaching, being able to work with a lot of different businesses from small to large and being able to support them with marketing education and sharing their stories about how they grow or how their business came to be, especially what was behind it, their story. And my business is your digital coach, so it's sharing your stories, your businesses on a daily basis, and I just love what I do.
All right, my name is Nikki again, and I believe that everybody has the potential and opportunity to be something great, and sometimes they just need a little bit of push and someone to look at and see in their mind and be like, I can do that too, and I do that through business. I'm good at business. I have a couple different businesses, and I just like to be that person that someone can come and they can ask questions to, and they can look at me and say, I can do that too, or I deserve more. So a couple of my businesses, I own Next Gen Accounting and Finance, where we work with business owners. We teach them to work on their business rather than in their business, really remove them from the day-to-day. At the end of the year, you get all your numbers together, you hand it to your accountant, and you have absolutely no idea what happened for the whole year. So we help you make strategic decisions based on critical data, KPIs, all that fun jargon. I'm a partner in a sports management company. I work with players from the NFL, so I'm sad that Molly left because I am currently in the middle of running a bunch of football camps for the youth with all of my NFL players. Yes. Please. Yeah. When she said that, I was like, I'm in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. And then I own Shamps and Charcuterie. I do charcuterie as well. I do weddings, events, baby showers, open houses, you name it. I do it. The beauty of food is amazing, and just something that I'm really good. I can bring my creativity through. I danced all my life. I just have a lot of creativity in my brain, and I do that through raising boards and shooting.
All right, so you guys know I'm Viorica, Katie. I believe to whom much is given, much is required. A little bit of context to that. I am an immigrant child who came from Romania, and having come from a spot where cousins, friends, family is still there and very much in third world and poverty, I recognize that if you have the opportunity to do something, you should, right? So that is why I do everything that I do, because if I have breath in my lungs, energy in my body, and the capability and the inclination and skill to do it, I will do it to the best of my ability and see how I monetize this. How do I do that? By tapping into the things I love and things I like and things that interest me and things that I turn a light bulb on and I start to say, okay, well, what next? Well, how can I maximize this? What can I do with it? If God brought it into my awareness, I should probably do something with that. What do I do? How have I used that? What do I do? Well, multiple things, right? My husband and I own a brokerage, right? So we are teaching people how money works and understanding the details behind it, not just, X, Y, and Z. It's like, how does it work and why does that work? How does it benefit us? We also are a certified family, which means that we take handicapped people from the state and we take care of them 24 hours a day. So they live with us and we have several patients 24 hours a day. I also breed puppies because I love puppies and they're so cute. And so we do that. And lastly, we have an industry, it's called the Daniela Foundation. After my sister passed, we turned our home in Romania into like a refuge. Was supposed to be an orphanage, but the country won't allow it. So refuge for street kids, sewer kids, widows, all of that. So we invest back into our family and the community back in Romania to bring that all back to life. So that's all that. Oh, I'll watch it.
She likes Okay, so I'm Leah. I believe that I believe that women especially need to be empowered to do what they are God given to do, and I
help women see their potential, and I help all types of people get to health goals, and I do that through an online business that offers great wellness products, but also offers the opportunity to bring in income for their family, find their purpose, and find their voice. And I would love to do that, and that is through Mo Dare. And I just help women start businesses from home, and I also help men and women and their family and kids too.
Just because you're
You gotta share, girl.
Just kidding. I just think that I don't have to tell you my money.
Yeah. Right. Here's my business card.
Okay, so I believe that in supporting women-owned businesses that support other women, and getting those, getting obviously the pictures like that, different things that they need to not only show, hey, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and how it feels when you work with me. I'm very big on getting personalities out. Like, I don't want just here's my business headshot. I don't do that. I'm very let's pull out that personality. Let's see when people see you on your social media, those pictures, I want to work with her. We would really connect. And then, so you do that I do a lot of events. Somehow I managed to kind of jump into that. I actually through business development, so I kind of started doing that. And then I do branding, pushing more towards big branding productions. So when you have your brand kind of, okay, this is what my brand is, pushing into, okay, let's spend a day, we spend a month planning, and then we spend the day getting all the video, all the photo content that you need for a long while, and then after that it's just quarterly upkeep, hey, we're launching a new product, or whatever that is. And I'm also starting a creative co-working space for photo and video creators, so that's kind of slowly in the works, hoping to open a studio co-working space at the end of the year. So.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I love hearing about your ladies' hearts and why you do what you do. Quick side note, Abby's taking fun photos. If you guys want to grab some group pictures or even some updated headshots.
She just has to leave.
And she just has to leave in a couple minutes.
It'll be there next.
Okay, perfect. She will have a headshot station set up next time. So just a couple quick announcements before we take our picture, and then we will head out. For our May event, May 10th, we have our member-exclusive Coffee Connect. We have our virtual, this is for members only, our virtual Connecting Co-work on May 18th at 11 a.m. And then our next Sip and Social, the fourth Thursday of every month, we are partying it up here with other women in business. And fun announcement for our summit. You are officially invited, like Bubbly, we rise. So to our Rise Summit happening September 29th and 30th. Insider secret, tickets are actually only available right now for business besties. Those are in our membership. But if you go there, you're able to get the same discount that they're getting, but only until Sunday. And we'd love to have you guys there. And if you're not in the membership, we'd love to invite you to be a part. There's a seat at the table with your name on it. We would love to invite you into the group to belong and to just really be seen and heard and known with us. And I guess we will just do our group picture with Abby and call it a day. But thank you guys so much for being here. And let's come up here And we will grab our picture and then make sure that you connect with someone before you head out. And grab coffee or coffee date or connect date, because this is a place of launching connection and launching further relationship and doing business and life together. So
You guys can't stand for long.
Hang it.
Yeah, perfect. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we'll cheers. Woo, hands. No, nobody cheered. Wow. Okay, they got the hands out.
We're quiet cheers.
I have a phone call.
Alright, thank you guys so much.
Are you on social?
Yes, sorry, I can. Yes. Yeah. So I have 2 Instagrams. I have my Rockbox, which is rockbox_Meridian.